Hello, my name is Robert and this is a short video about the primary 5 to 7 Old Edinburgh tour currently offered by Historic Edinburgh Tours. This video looks specifically at the activities and locations we'll cover in this tour. If you want more general points, please see our video on historicedinburghtours.co.uk/schools. So, your guided tour starts in Greyfriars Kirkyard. I'll give everyone laminated evidence sheets and the pupils will work in pairs. One child will get a green set of sheets, the partner will get a blue set of sheets. One map is from 1780, the other sheet has a map from 1820 which covers some of the biggest changes in the old town, and we'll spend time in pairs looking at the different maps and working out which of the coloured blobs they're standing at before I kind of point them to realise that they're right next to Greyfriars Kirk. And we'll come back to these maps throughout the tour. You'll hear the story of Greyfriars Bobby, listening to different versions before I bring the story up to date with some quite recent research, and I warn you, it might not be the story you're expecting. It's quite funny though. We'll then explore a few of the important tombs and monuments in the Kirkyard. We'll look at the style of tombs and what information we get from these historic artefacts. I'll even let them see how people were buried, and it's quite cool for them to actually then stand and work out how they are going to bury their little Lego man according to what I've just said. There's lots of information on these historic artefacts in terms of dates and times, but by the end of this section the people should be able to visually date tombs without looking at dates at all. The class will then learn about William Carstairs, a very important resident of the Kirkyard and a man who's effectively a spy at one point. How cool is that? I'll tell them a little age-appropriate story about how he was tortured, and then some of the children will get to use a set of thumb screws on me. It's a great photo opportunity and one that the classes always seem to talk about lots afterwards. Next comes a chance to discover what gravestones tell us about Old Edinburgh life expectancy, and it's not quite what you might think. We'll certainly have a look at the Mort safe, which was built to deter body snatchers. And although Burke and Hare weren't body snatchers, they were involved in the same line of work, and it gives me a chance to talk about them here. If there's time, we might have a look at the tomb of a famous anatomist and discover his role in the Burke and Hare story. And it's got kind of an icky ending that the kids love. There'll be a time for a short snack break. Now, although there's not a seating area as such in Greyfriars, there is a place where the kids can sit down and they can use their laminated sheets as waterproof seats if need be. If anyone needs a toilet at this point, then you can go and use the ones in the museum, but it's great to be able to use them at the start of the break section rather than later on. After our break, it's off and around Old Edinburgh. Again, we'll be using our maps this time to retrace the route of a royal procession, and we'll follow in their footsteps down to the Grass Market, where we'll learn about the Flodden Wall and about Maggie Dixon, a lady who was hanged but not killed here. This lets us look at the importance of the public side of executions and what this said about power and control in Old Edinburgh. Our next mini-investigation focuses on one of Edinburgh's most ancient streets, the West Bow. We'll look at an old image of how the street once looked before we walk up the remaining section looking for things that have survived from the past. And on the Victoria Terrace we'll compare the two maps, and I'll even add in a third map to show them how the West Bow changed into Victoria Street. We'll investigate a mysterious building which we would have been able to see from where I stopped the group. We might visit Riddle's Court and learn a little bit about streets and closes and wines. Then we visit Parliament Square, where we can learn about the Tolbooth prison. They will use old images and modern day photographs to let the children in their minds recreate the building, and then we'll actually get the kids to recreate the building themselves, using themselves as temporary wee walls. I'll gather them around one part of the prison to have a look at the story of Deacon Brodie, where I'll use an eyewitness account and a little Lego men to tell you a little bit about his hanging, which is a very surprising and interesting story. Our normal final stop will either take place here in Advocates Close or in Barry's Close, and we'll look at the living conditions in a typical old town close. This is where we cover Gardyloo, and it's always a highlight of the trips, and really you should see the props that I use for this, they're quite cool. We also look at photographs of artefacts held in the Museum of Edinburgh collection, and then explore why some people refuse to use their windows effectively despite the smell and the darkness and all that. Now, we do have some scope to end this tour on the site of Kirky Fields, which is right next to the Museum of Edinburgh, so it might be more useful if you've got a coach or a bus from that side. It's got a fantastic story about the death of Mary Queen of Scots' second husband. And that concludes your tour. Both Barry's Close and Advocates Close are seconds away from Parliament Square and therefore are close to most bus links in town. If you have any questions about this tour or would like some different locations added, please contact me by emailing me at robert@historicedinburghtours.co.uk. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you choose to bring your class out on a Historic Edinburgh Tours tour.